Right, thanks, thanks, Kamo, and yes, welcome to you all. We thought it would be very useful to start off, as we usually do, with introducing ourselves, just our name, where you are in the world, and because it's so tempestuous at the moment, what the weather's like where you are, because I'm Therese, I live in Gqeberha, and it's pretty stormy here. So it's wild and wonderful. But and then I will pass on to someone, and if you can do the same. So I'll pass on to Beryl.
Teresa, good evening. I'm Beryl Kanyile. I'm currently in Nairobi, Kenya. There's only two seasons in Kenya. It's rain and sun. So it's quite sunny at the moment, with showers in the afternoon. Great to be here. Good to meet the people that I've never met before. And yeah, good to see the usual faces.
Can you pass on to someone?
I'll pass on to Fiona.
You're muted,
You're
Fiona.
Hi,
muted, Fiona.
I've unmuted myself. Sorry, I'm so late. You would think I wouldn't be late. It's a kind of a Hogsback in bed day. None of us have got out of bed today. So where you see me is where I am at the moment. I'm not sure if we're what we're doing. We're just introducing ourselves now.
Yes, we're just introducing ourselves, saying where we are and what the weather's like.
Okay, well, it's cold. It's very rainy. We thought we were going to have snow and then we were disappointed. But I'm in Hogsback and I'm happy.
And now you pass on to someone else.
Oh, okay. Ilza, oh, are you in Joburg or here?
I'm in Joburg, having been 6 weeks in Hogsback. I just got back here, and it's cold and wet here. Um, I'll pass on to who I can't see who's there. To Andiswa. Andiswa? No?
Andy, can you hear?
Hello, it's a bit sketchy because of the weather. I work. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we
I'm
hear you.
on.
Brilliant.
Hi, I'm on this one, Zenze, and my Wi-Fi is a bit sketch with the bad weather, and I'm glad to be here. I'll pass it on to Natasha.
Hi everyone. My name is Natasha Ria. I'm in Cape Town. It's been raining, but today it was like a very good weather to go outside, even though I was not able to do so. Yeah, and passing it on um to Jessica.
Thanks, Natasha. Jessica, I'm also in Cape Town in Cork Bay. I'm actually trying to see what the weather is because Cape Town just changes every 10 minutes, but it's quite cold but sunny. Yeah. And Julia.
Got it. I'm Julia, cookout in Cape Town in a cold weather. I'm gonna try and stay as muted as much as I can because my fridge is making a hella noise. And and I'm gonna pass it on to Vincent.
Hi all. I'm in Hogsback, just up the road from Fiona, and all your bad weather is coming our way, as Fiona indicated. I didn't know we were expecting snow, Fiona, but the rain is welcome. Let's accept that. And I'll pass on to Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michal. I'm in Cape Town also. So it's been raining the last few days. It's cold now, but it was gorgeous this afternoon. So it fluctuates all the time, as Jessica says. Every few hours, you've got to change your clothes. So yeah, that's how it is now. But lovely day.
Will you pass on?
I'll pass it on to Tanya.
Hi everyone, I'm Tina. I'm also in Cape Town, and was also indoors all day, but I managed half an hour in the exquisite weather, and waiting for the change. Nice to see you all. I'll pass, I'll pass on to Stephanie.
Hi, all. I'm Stephanie Posner. I'm in East London, where it's also cold and rainy. I'll pass on to, I think, Glenn. Have you gone?
No. Hi, I'm Glenn. I am in Bloemfontein, and it's very cold. We had big thunderstorms last night. Tomorrow, 2 degrees in the morning. So, yeah, cold and wet. I'll pass on to Jeremy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy. I am in Cape Town. It is gorgeous. There's no, I can hardly see a cloud, but well, there are some clouds. It's chilly, but we've had a lot of rain and very glad to send it up to everybody that needs it. Um, and I am going to pass to Tim.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim, and like Ilse, I've just returned from 6 weeks at Hogsback and in Joburg, where there are lots of nice people, though the weather is not so nice, but cold and wet. And I'll pass on who hasn't been yet. Tanya, you've been? Oops, hasn't.
Okay, so actually, it looks like everyone's been except
I think
Kamo.
everybody has.
And
Kamo.
Kamo, we want it perfect to pass on to you, Kamo, so that you can then move the show along. Thanks. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, thank you. My name is Kamogelo, but you can call me Kamu. I am in Mabopane, which is further north of Pretoria. It's been storming today. We woke up with sunshine and then the sky just turned dark around 1 p.m. and it's been storming the whole afternoon. Grateful that I still have power. It's a miracle, but let me not jinx it. So lovely, lovely to meet all of you. And thank you, T, for leading us in the check-in. Jess, I'm gonna pass over to you now.
Thanks very much, Kamo. And you can pass to me and at the same time start a slideshow. So I'm going to give you a short overview of what we did last year. And Fiona, I think other than the Kamo, T, Jeremy, and I, you're the only person here who was with us last year. So if you want to add anything, I'll invite you to do that at the end. So Kamo's the pictures are gonna just be in the background. I'm not gonna talk to them. But yeah, just to say that last year we conceived this idea of a gathering in a sense to respond to a lot of stress and the fragmentation that's happening in the world all over. And our intention was to use the time to connect with each other or reconnect with each other, to reconnect with nature, and also to reconnect with our history. We planned it to be experiential, so not sitting all in our heads, emergent, so we didn't always know what was going to happen, and dynamic, it was always changing. So those were some of the underlying kind of principles. We also worked with art and creative expression, which we're hoping to ratchet up this next year. And we also worked with our senses, including beautiful sound journey. But the way we designed the program, those familiar with Gestalt will be familiar with the sense of the systems, but essentially we were looking at 5 interconnected or nested systems. The first one was place. And we wanted to be very clear that this gathering was happening in Hogsback, in the Eastern Cape, in what had been the frontiers over the last 200 or 300 years. So we looked at history, we looked at some of the contradictions. We had a day of immersion led by a local artist and a local historian who took us to sites in the Chumi Valley and around to really ground ourselves there. The smell, the sights, the sounds, some of the absolutely terrible history that had happened there, but also the place where the very first Xhosa word was ever printed. It's just spitting distance from Hogsback. So that was our first system, our first frame. And then within that, we worked with the elements. We used a system of elements introduced based on a Tibetan structure, and we worked with earth, water, fire, air, and space. So each day had a different element. What you see in the pictures now is working with fire. And it was experiential, so we spent time with that element. We understood how it manifested both in nature and in ourselves. And through those elements, we looked towards balance and integration. So we used that as a sort of healing process, and each one was on a different day. We also had wonderful caterers. So we being explained how the meal was designed around the elements, that particular meal. And then the third system that we worked with was Gestalt, and we looked each day, or most of the days, we had a session looking at some of the tools and methods we could work with. We looked at the cycle of experience, and we worked with resistance, and we looked at where and how those also showed up as we within the kind of elements framework. And we had some very esteemed Gestalt teachers and practitioners with us, which was wonderful. The fourth system we worked with was each other. So we were an emergent community. Many of us had met one or two people, but we had never been together in that group. And we allowed the space and the time for this group to form and emerge. And in a sense, I think those bonds became really strong. We had a very strong sense of each other, a sense of working together, what it can be like to be in community, and looking at, often some difficult conversations or difficult things. And then the last system we worked with was the system of self, the individual. So within the community, there's also the system of self that also needs integration and healing. That's our air day. The wind played with us that day, and it was freezing. So you can see the blankets are gathering us. So we included time for reflection and time for integration of what we were learning together. So we were also conscious of that system of self. So I think those were the 5 systems that we worked with, some of the principles behind it. And maybe, Fiona, if there's anything you want to add, anything that struck you, anything that you want to share about the experience that you had, will be great. Have we lost her?
Sorry.
We have.
Well, I can see we've been we've lost.
Oh, but
Fiona, but
Sibu's
we've
joined
gained
us.
Sibu. Yeah.
Yes.
Sibu,
With his
did you
glasses.
hear? Okay, so
Hey.
Sibu was also with us last year. He was our
Hey.
esteemed historian.
Did I
Sibu,
chase away Fiona?
you've chased away Fiona. Do you want to, Sibu, do you want to share anything about how the week was for you? I don't know if you heard what I was saying or not, but if there was anything that stayed with you or struck you about the gathering last year.
Sure. Evening, everyone. I hope everyone's okay. Hope everyone's keeping warm wherever you are in the country, wherever you are in the world. Hogsback Gathering 2025 was quite an interesting time, especially with Landing. Yeah, the landing was quite an interesting day, I guess, meeting everyone, I guess. For me, that was quite interesting, meeting very different people from different backgrounds. Some knew each other, some didn't, but yeah, the landing was quite interesting. And obviously, the space, Hogsback, you know, um, and the energy that it has, in terms of, recouping energy by actually taking in the energy of Hogsback, itself, as a space that is quite, it's got presence in terms of the like nature. Yeah, it was quite an interesting, engagement, and obviously the content itself of what we were doing, which was, a gestalt moment, for some of us, at least for us at Vow. This was a new space, a new environment, a new exercise. So that was quite something interesting for us as creatives to engage in, and psychological, organizational development practices. Quite interesting, and to fuse it with, as you were saying, Jessica, with the historical background of the region. And obviously, again, I go back to the landing, dealing with, the land and the soil elements of Hogsback and the Kimber Valley. Yeah, great people, great environment, a great program, great program, great programming.
Thanks, Sibu. Yeah, he was our host. Also, not only was he a participant, he was our historian for our immersion, which was amazing. So thank you for that.
Sure.
I'm going to invite Jeremy to share how we're segueing from 2025 to 2026.
Thank you, Jess. I'm just, Kamal, you'll help me with time, but I'm just wondering if, as we start to go to 2026, whether there are any questions or curiosities from those of you who were not there. Anything that Jess has said or Sibusiso said that's got your attention and you want to ask before I talk about what we're planning for this year.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
How did the experience change your heart?
Sorry, Julia, I'm wanting to say thank you for the question. That's like we've gone right in. So I definitely want to talk to that. But I also see Beryl. Let's take a question from you too, and then I'll gather my prepare myself. Yeah.
Look, I can't help to feel an extreme FOMO at this point. Fear of missing out, fear that I've missed out. But I'm very captured by what Jess explained. Thank you for walking us through, and the pictures do a lot of justice, even though you're not talking through them. I'm very curious to understand deeper what Sibusiso is stating about how the space captures the presence of the space captures you. I just need that landing, perhaps, if we pick from there. What are the key elements? What to look out for? It's for me, the space as I see the pictures, and as you explain it, how it contributes towards capturing each and every segment that was explained by Jess. Thanks.
Thanks, Beryl. Let me just deal with the heart, and then we'll deal with the place. Julia, it's such a pertinent question for me, and I think all of us that were there in the time of now, where I think it's almost like we're having a global heart attack, which is sort of getting us panicked, disconnected, in pain, and the heart doesn't want to open in those spaces. And what I'll speak for myself. Certainly, what happened for me is an opening of the heart and a slowing of the heart, and an experience of the heart occupying a bigger part of my body. So almost a spreading of the heart. And then I would also say a connection and a connection between hearts. And so, like the heart space opened. And in that opening, I think all of us felt the emergence of greater possibility and a greater sense of wholeness. And I'll talk to some of those themes when I talk about what we're thinking of for this year. But it's to build on that. And we thought last year when we gathered it was turbulent. It seems to be exponentially turbulentifying. I don't know if that's a new English word, but it seems to be we're in a heightened space of frenetic fragmenting, and the radical act of connecting and grounding in a generative space with a group of people is good for the heart.
Mm.
Sibusiso.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to answer your question in as far as is it Beryl that was asking, yeah? Yeah. Look, the landing, the place, and its presence, and in terms of the programming and how the two, kind of interfaced. I don't know if Jeremy and Dukamo's programming, was anticipating what actually, transpired. But obviously, as Val, the brief came to us in terms of, making sure that from a historical base, and obviously from as an understanding of the place and the landing zone in terms of the land that we were on, with a role to play, in terms of giving the history of the land. So the two together kind of, were emotional, comes to the heart. That what Jeremy was explaining. It was emotional because the land is an emotional land. It is a place of contestation. It has been for quite some time. It might not be now. It might be now, a different place, but it also is not a place only that defines itself. It's a place that defines, not only South Africa, but other places in the world that, relate to the Chuma Valley and the contribution it has had in terms of history. So bringing, the Gestalt, gathering to Hogsback, and having a historical immersion to the land, and its, heritage route, as a landing space before the actual, programming that Kamo and Jeremy and Jess and them had put together, and Teresa. It was an emotional immersion, but at the same time, it was a necessary, clash, iconoclash, as it were, of what transpired on the land, within the land, about the land, and what we were now, engaging with the land, and obviously what we look at in terms of, a collective future with shared responsibilities around the land. People like Jeremy and Jessica will know that they've got quite an attachment to the land historically as well, and so do I. And obviously, we've got a collective future around that land. So it was an interesting exercise to have other people who either have never been there or have not been there in quite a long while, to engage in that immersion before we engage in the programming, as it were. It was quite emotional and also quite engaging critically, yeah, uncomfortably, but obviously, critically.
Thanks, Sibusiso. Beryl, I'm seeing you smiling, so it looks like you got something from that. And Sibusiso,
Certainly.
thanks for talking about that, because we wanted to continue with using almost a way in, for a thematic way in for the gathering. And we used the land and its layers and its history as that way in to last year's gathering. And because it's such a diverse and contested space, we could find ourselves in all those layers, both in terms of kind of lineages of being South African, but also in terms of what they represent and how do we integrate what often feels like seemingly opposing parts.
Sure.
So it really gave us that a very, we used the word, an evocative and provocative way in. And this year, we want to continue using the generative space of where people come together, the space in between, the liminal, the space of possibility, the space of creativity, the space of where we make meaning, the space of where we clash, but the space of where we leverage discomfort into possibility rather than descend it into war. And for those of you that know, live, and love that the Eastern Cape, and particularly that part of the Eastern Cape, it's like a never-ending offering of curriculum for growth. And we love that about it. So I want to just build on what Jess was talking about, these elements that informed the design of place, the 5 elements as taught in the Tibetan tradition, Gestalt, which remains an elusive term. There are techniques that are used in Gestalt, but in many ways it's a stance or orientation around how you take in your environment and then what you do as a consequence. So we often think Gestalt's a great way to take in. The elements are a great way to experience at a more sensory and sensual level what's going on, and through that achieve a sense of coming together of the fragments of the journey that we've been on. In some ways, these retreats are a way of kind of taking yourself in for a bit of a service after quite a brutal year, or whatever your year's been, to slow down, make sense of it, get some clarity, nourish yourself, and energize yourself for the next, whatever's next. This year, we got interested in material, in its tangible form. And of course, we have a South African material which is called Sishweshwe, which is so iconic in so many cultures, and it arrived here through Germans and has been owned and interpreted by almost all South African groups into a beloved traditional material. And we thought, what a great way of exploring an innocent piece of material onto which we start to project meanings. So it hits a whole lot of boxes for us in terms of working with something that's tactile and tangible, that we project lots of meanings onto, and it can allow us to explore metaphorically a whole lot of things. So we thought, well, that could be something that would be an interesting way of starting to theme our week. Of course, Sishweshwe is named after Mushweshwe, an extraordinary leader who hasn't got the profile that he should have, partly because he was predominantly a peacemaker, not a war maker. He embraced the new. He didn't reject it. He found ways of generative collaboration. He created boundaries that protected, but not borders that excluded. And he had some incredible practices like gifting defeated groups cattle after the battle, so that they too could become part of and have the resources they needed. It's the very opposite of what we see typically in war. So we also got curious about Mushweshwe. as an embodiment of the possibility of the liminal space, the space in between, which geographically is so present in the area surrounding Hogsback. I'm going to share with you an overview of the week, but I wanted to just tell you that we're wanting to use something to get in. And we used land and its layers last year, and we were thinking of material and how we clothe ourselves in that and the meanings that we put onto material as a way into the richness of part of the story of the land and its surroundings. The other thing that's really important for us is the healing power of nature. And this was a resounding bit of feedback we got from all participants, is that the space itself heals just by being there. And the location that we center our retreat on is the Hunterston Center of Fort Hare, which in itself carries an amazing history and an extraordinarily regenerative landscape and space. And the way in which we enter the place is really through our senses. And we also experience it through elemental aspects of life, which we often neglect. The earth itself, getting ourselves into the earth, experiencing water, experiencing fire, experiencing air, and experiencing the space in between. So we're keeping that, the elements. So we're using the elements, we're using a bit of the material of the area, and we use that also to teach Gestalt, as how can we learn Gestalt through things like material and liminality. And it might sound a bit complex at the moment, but it all comes together beautifully in the moment. Okay. The other thing I'll say is that we also need space, which is not programmed. So one of the bits of feedback we got from last year was that we would like a little bit more time off. So we've designed into it completely free afternoons and some free evenings. Generally, what we do is we have a session in the morning where we explore an element, we explore a bit of Gestalt through the theme that we're looking at, we have lunch together, then we have the afternoon off. There's so many lovely things you can do, and if the community wants to offer something, we do that as well. And then come together in the late afternoon, early evening for a brief session, and then we have supper together. But we won't be doing that every night because of people's requests to have a little bit more space. So that's kind of what we do. And I'll give you an overview of what the program looks like, with the proviso that it's in the early stages of design. So it's really for you to get a sense of it at this stage and not to hold it too strongly. Sibusiso used the word VOW. It's an acronym for an organization called Victory of the Word. It's been catalyzed by the Lovedale Press, which is the press that printed the first Xhosa words, and indeed was the printing press of indigenous South African languages. And over the years, it has been through many iterations. It has survived and thrived. And in recent years, it has been in a state of decay. And the Victory of the Word has galvanized energy to restore it, but in the process, to bring focus and energy to the Word. And VOW is a partner and a key part of this retreat. And I was talking Sibusiso with Ati, Sibusiso's colleague, earlier today around some of these ideas. And Jessica introduced him as a local artist, which he is, but he's an international artist. One of South Africa's most extraordinary artists who does three interesting things. He has a studio where he generates his work from. He also has a practice of looking after himself, and he has a practice of contributing to the community. And those three things in balance is quite a nice model in any case for us to follow. So he is integral to our design and is going to be working with us on the first day and the second day around orienting ourselves into the material, and into the material of Shwe Shwe and into its history and its meanings and into the creative process. How do we express ourselves creatively? And he's got some wonderful techniques to work with us through drawing, through other media that get us in touch with that which is emerging rather than that is only comes from the head. So he will be a key partner in this week, and he's an absolute gift to these retreats. So typically we're starting on the Sunday. We have a welcome and orientation. Last year we had an extraordinary sound, a musician, Kawakazi, and her surname has just left me. But she was an amazing artist who got us settled in the sound. Thank you. Yes. And it really was a way of us getting settled into space. And then we had dinner together. This week, we want to start with dawn in the forest with the view of taking in the sounds of the transition from night to day. There are exquisite spaces for us to do that. And then we'll go into exploring earth and exploring gestalt, liminality, and creativity. This is with Artie. And it's the one day that we don't have the afternoon fully off, because we get things going on the Monday and build quite a bit of energy, and then we'll have dinner together. The second day, we get into the element of water. And then we'll also go into the specifics of what we call Gestalt material, the material of Gestalt. In this case, we're looking at Shwe Shwe, and we'll teach elements of Gestalt through it. We'll have lunch together, and then the afternoon is at leisure to rest, recover, and there's wonderful places to get extra rest and recover from in Hogsback. Wednesday, we explore fire. And also we'll start to look at blankets. It's another bit of material that's incredibly evocative in we know this as South Africans, blankets and what they mean and how we project onto them and what they do for us. It's a very Gestalt way of also, we'll use that to teach some of the elements of Gestalt too. We'll have lunch, part of the afternoon's off, and then we will gather again later afternoon for an as yet unprogrammed element. Well, not an element, a segment. And then we'll have dinner together. Thursday, we look at air. And we'll start to explore some inspiring practices from leading in liminality with possibility through some kind of leadership nuggets of Mushweshwe. And then we have lunch together and the afternoon is off. And on Friday, we look at this space in between. What is the space? What is the next? What is emerging through the space? And we will then explore what does it mean for you? What is the gestalt or the essence of you arising from this week? We then have part of the afternoon off, and we gather together later in the afternoon, and we will go and take sunset at a particular site and then go into our closing dinner. So we kind of have sunrise and sunset for the formal program. And on the Saturday morning, it's a chance just for us to integrate, to close. Those people who like doing park run, there's a fantastic park run or park walk that's available if you'd like to. We'll take brunch together. We don't close the program formally until the Saturday because you need time. If you rush on the Friday, you lose it. So we're quite intentional about the value of spending the whole time from the arrival on Sunday until departure on Saturday morning. I can see Kamo looking at me with those eyes. So I'm going to stop my share there and say that it is work in progress, but we wanted to get you a sense of what's in the mix for what is being designed. The last thing I'll say is that it's a co-creation, these retreats. So we do have enough to create and hold a container to evoke and provoke certain things, to be influenced by the land, to be influenced by each other. And through that, we co-create a retreat experience, which strengthens the heart, clears the mind, sharpens the vision, and gives you energy for whatever is next. Kamal, I would love to ask people to ask questions, but I don't know if you're going to allow me that. So there may be the questions at the end.
I think for sequencing, let's do them now, Jeremy. I think
Okay.
it makes sense. Yeah, let's do them now.
I'll take 2 questions for now, and then of course
Yeah.
we're available for chats after and on email, and we'll share the details with you. But
Yeah.
yeah, are there any questions that people have or comments?
If I may comment, sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
No
Thank
problem.
you,
Yes.
Jeremy, for walking us through what is coming. I cannot help to connect the space that everybody landed in last year and that piece of material. I'm just thinking as you're talking, the significance of the situation. In fact, what I understand about it is that another original name of it is Sijarimani, and that is
Yeah.
German.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't. And my connection stems deep because my mother hails from the mountains of Lesotho. And exactly, it is that symbol when we took our kids with my sister like 3 years ago. And it is that symbol of defining what institution means in a different context. So it's very connected. For me, it's very exciting. Thank you for using something that may appear so simple, but actually its meaning you can stretch it and really use it in so many varying ways. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks, Beryl. I love the stretching of the material. Yeah.
If I can say something as well, like just to add to that as well, just to give that context as well, in terms of the material as well, that you speak of barrel, it's the French that brought the material to Mshweshwe in the 1840s, just for historical content. And the locals, not just the Sotho locals, just then gave it the name German because the French obviously got it from the Germans. The actual print itself, its history is actually in India. It's actually an Indian print that found itself in Europe through the Germans, and the French brought it to Southern Africa as a gift to Kingdom Shweshwe in the 1840s, and it got interpreted as a German print because of, I guess, or the historical exchange between the two European superpowers. But I want to say and acknowledge, Jeremy, the way that you guys come up with these themes is actually quite interesting because together not only with just the actual history, but the repurposing of this blanket, this material, and how over time it has, taken its own trajectory and its own, no livelihood. It's actually going to be an interesting programming that will be able to interact with all the five elements of the Buddhist way, as it were. I love the way you guys have done that. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Sibusiso. There's a thing about self-authorship and reinterpretation and vitality that we are constantly adapting. And these are representations of it. And what we love about these two things is that they seem to be traditional. Like they are special things that never changed. And yet we got them at the interface of liminality between. And that's the adaptive magic of it. So it's nice to be South African on this. Okay.
Jim.
Yes,
Jim,
Glenn.
it's Glenn. Yeah. And I feel like an imposter here, and I'm a lurker. But it's just a comment. I mean, I love the idea of you talking about material, the shweshwe. It gives an enormous amount of potential for all sorts of links. But as you were speaking, I was wondering, and it's a sort of language thing, maybe. It doesn't really change it. but I'm wondering whether you might not consider the notion of fabric.
Yeah.
And the reason I raise it is because I mean that nation fabric, you speak of fiber, you speak of cloth, you speak of textile, goods, stuff. Material is something obviously that you make, you use to make other things. So I mean it's an amazing idea. But the wonderful thing about fabric too is that because that's what it is fabric. Um, but that you can talk about the fabric of society, the fibers, the alignment of fibers that connect, and there's spaces in between those fibers. Some of that ultimately makes them actually strong, and the way they woven together. So. It was just a thought about fabric, fabricate, create, build, design, link, connect, which possibly the language of using fabric might be a way of getting there. I don't know, just a thought.
It's not just a thought, Glenn. I mean, so I want to just correct one thing that you said about imposter. That was the only thing I didn't agree with, because you're so it's. I'm delighted that you brought that because when Kamo, Jess, and Therese and myself were talking about this, one of the kind of titles we'd had was "Fabrics of My Heart." Which joins to Julia's point as well. And we thought, oh, well, maybe it's a bit too kind of strong and not everybody's going to sign up for like a big kind of, to be clothed in the fabrics of the heart. But in many ways, that's where we want to get to is what have been the fibers that have been woven together to create the unique material and fabric that is you in the context of others in a way that is generative for all of us and in a way that makes you feel more whole and us more whole and interconnected. So, Glenn, that was profound. Thank you. And now I'm getting the eye from Kamal. So, Kamal, tell us how any further questions that people might ask can be answered outside of the time that we have set. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. So I'm just gonna take everyone through the web page. This is where we hold the information. And you will find out all the details that you need to know about the retreat. Let me know. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is the landing page, and you will find, so this is briefly what the gathering is about. I'm not going to go through all the details. You have the link. I'll also put it in the chat, and then you can just go in your own time and read through that. So we have about the gathering. We also have the ground. We will be in Hogsback, which is so divine. And if you are not from Hogsback and you are curious to know more, you can click on this link and it will take you to the Hogsback website, basically. And you can, learn about the activities, what happens there, and learn more information. So these are the beautiful pictures, which I really love. And of course, the previous gathering just touched on this, but we also showed you some of these pictures. But basically, this is what happened last year. So the elements, and of course, working with the Victory of the Word team, Atipatra and Sibusiso. So it was really wonderful. You can just get a glimpse of what happened and some testimonials from the participants from last year. And we will be, during the day, we will be working at the Hunterston Center. So for the morning, basically the activities leading up to lunch, that's where we will convene and meet. It's a really, really lovely space. Um, there used to be a link that to the Hunterston Center. I will check with Jessica. The last time I checked that link, it was not working just, but we'll get it up and running so that you can learn more information about Hunterston Center and Fort Hare. And then that's us, the four of us. We are holding the gathering together. And then these are the dates. So, as Jeremy has outlined on the program, we will be starting on Sunday, the 25th, and then we will be running until the 31st. And we suggest that people arrive on Saturday or on the morning so that they can enjoy the full experience of the retreat. And of course, Saturday morning, we can do the park run and then we'll have breakfast together and we can all depart after that. So those are the dates. And then these are the fees. We have the individual fee at 15,000 Rand. And if you have a if your corporate would be willing to pay for this, that's at 22,250. And if you need like a letter from us to motivate or anything, you can get in touch with me and we can send it to you so that you can use that as to apply at your organization. And of course, if you know any students who would love or benefit from this experience, we also have a fee for them. And of course, all fees exclude VAT. And this is, at the bottom of the page. So basically, helpful things to know before coming. So we will update this page regularly because as we get closer to the dates, people ask a lot of questions. So the ones that I have sort of open now to say, what does the fee cover? So the fee will not cover transport and accommodation. You will be responsible to paying for that. And of course, if you're looking for accommodation, we have laid out 3 recommendations. And please get in touch with me. Get in touch with me, liaise with me, and then I can assist with choosing the right accommodation for you. And then in terms of meals, morning tea, snacks, and lunch are included in the fee. Dinner is also covered, but like Jeremy said, we will not have dinner every night. So we will put, once the program has been finalized, we'll put it on the web page so that you can see which other nights where we will have dinner together. Yeah, but like I said, these questions will be updated as we move closer to the gathering, and then so you will know how to prepare and how to get ready for the gathering. So that's our webpage. Um, I'm gonna stop there and ask if there are any questions. Jay, sorry, yeah.
Kamal, can you just stop sharing if possible?
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so I can see people. I just wanted to say one other thing is that we do have some scholarships available. We had scholarships available last year. We have a fantastic organization that provides at this stage 2 scholarships for a particular. It's basically for sort of social activists, uh, young, black, that are doing interesting and innovative things in communities. So that's what we've got now. We also managed to get sponsorship outside of that parameter for one other place for generally people who are doing amazing work in their communities. We we want we don't want for people to be excluded. So we are looking to create spaces for people who are unable to afford it, but that's on a motivation basis. We need to, and you need to make a clear argument as to why and what you'll do with the opportunity that will be afforded you. I just wanted to add that to the mix. Thanks, Kamal.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, any questions? Wonderful. I guess I'll see you
Sorry, can I
later.
interrupt?
So yes, Fiona.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that from somebody who was a complete novice last year, complete and utter novice, who came in kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was blown away by the experience that we had over those few days. And so for anybody who has not really been a part of this kind of work before, my call to you is to take a leap. This is an incredible group of human beings that come together, and the fabric, which I think is the right word here, the fabric that holds these people together becomes so much a part of your experience and your life when you go through this. I'm not a Hey Shua person who kind of likes everything kind of terribly spiritual and airy-fairy. So I was a little nervous to start with, and the incredible ability that this group of people has to bring our minds and our bodies and our souls together is remarkable. So I would just like to put that call out at the end. If you are in any way nervous, anxious about this, take a leap, because it's a leap of faith that I promise will be rewarded.
Thank you. Thank you, Fiona. And yeah, I'd also like to add that the four of us are available, me, Therese, Jeremy, and Jessica. If you have any sort of questions, you can come to us, and yeah, we'll guide you and help you make a decision. So I've just put the link. Please explore the webpage. We will also, we will let you know when applications fully open, but it will be very soon. We'll put the registration link on the website, and then we can start rolling. So before we close, just Jeremy, T, anything else?
Not from my side. Thanks, Kamo.
No, I think we've done. We're bang on time, and yeah, it was absolutely amazing to meet everyone here today. So thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. My only disappointment is that we couldn't hear Julia's fridge, which she said was making so much noise. But
I know.
I can bring it through. I can go real close.
No, but thank you, and thanks everyone for coming. It's wonderful to see some friends who I haven't seen for a while. I'm especially pointing at you, Beryl, all the way in Nairobi. Thank you.
Yes. Beryl, we want you there, hey?
Yes, please, Beryl.
I'm already working my dates in my head, looking at that. It
That is
is
so
my wish
great.
for my wish for 2026 to be there. Yes. Thank you. Good to meet everybody.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Lovely evening. It's been
Come
lovely.
with this,
Thank
Jeremy.
you.
Thank you.
Take care.